Navarre, Florida has been called Florida's best kept secret, but is it really a great place to live? I'm gonna give you 5 pros and 5 cons so you can find out for yourself. All right, so we're gonna jump right into the pros, but I'm gonna save one for the end because I wanna end on a high note. Pro number 1, we have a slower paced lifestyle here. Navarre's current motto is most relaxing beach, and it didn't get that moniker by accident. We are far less crowded than our neighbors to the east and the west. And it's just got that southern coastal vibe about it. It's just not that fast, go get 'em city lifestyle here. So if you like the slower paced lifestyle, then it is definitely your place to live. Pro number 2 is that it's great for military families. Yes, we are super close to not only Hurlburt, but Eglin Air Force Base, Duke Field, Whiting Field, NAS Pensacola. There's a Coast Guard base in Destin, and then there's a couple other like marine little spots as well. So we've got a lot of military here in the area, which one makes it easy for their families coming in because they're not the only kid moving in. We're not a tiny little town where someone's moving into the first time, like I did when I was in 6th grade. I was the only new kid in that class. That's not how this happens here. So your kiddos are coming to school and they're not the only new kid. And then as far as our community, like they embrace our military, they respect our military. They've got tons of different, things for Memorial Day and Veterans Day and everything like that. And it's just super awesome that respect and everything is there. So if you're a military family, this is a great place for you to live as well. Pro number 3. So if you love that outdoor lifestyle, you will not be bored here. Not only do we have all of the fun, like water things as far as like kayaking, paddleboard, boating, fishing, snorkeling, swimming, and just laying out on the beach, but there's also lots of things you can get involved with as far as like hiking in the springs, or, which I guess is another water thing, wildlife areas where you can go and hunt through things and all that good stuff. But there's like hiking trails and all that stuff. Obviously there's a couple of different bike trails as well, but you can just be outside all the time because it's not ever cold. Like we don't get winter obviously, so there's a lot of outdoor activities. There's a huge biking path. I'm pointing this way because that's where Gulf Breeze is. But there's huge like biking and hiking trails in a national seashore, Gulf Breeze, and like I said, a ton of different like fishing areas. So you're not vacant of places and things to do outside here in Navarre. Okay, so our last pro before I save the other one, so this is our 4th pro, before I get into the cons anyway, is the different kinds of housing options. So we have pretty much anything you can think of. We've got condos. We've got condos on the beach. We've got condos not on the beach. We've got townhomes. We've got single family homes. We have homes on pylons. We have waterfront homes. We have canal front homes, Gulf and the Sound and the Bay. We've got regular single family homes. We have new construction. We have older homes like built in the 50s and 60s. We have mobile homes, more family residential areas. We've got ones that are more, investor type areas. Anything you can think of is an option here. We even have a couple dome homes on the beach, which is pretty cool. But you've got tons of options as far as different kinds of housing. So I've never had anyone that hasn't been able to find what they're looking for here in Navarre. Speaking of housing options, hey, I'm Kristen Weller. I am your local real estate agent here on the Panhandle of the Emerald Coast. If you are looking for, your first place here or your next move is down here on the Emerald Coast, I would love to help you out to find that perfect kind of home that we were just mentioning. All of my information is going to pop up here on the screen, or you can find me on my socials and DM me, but I would love to help you out. We just went over 4 pros, and as much as people love living here, let's talk about some cons just to make sure if it's the right place for you. All right, con number 1, and honestly, it's the biggest one that I hear most frequently, is that there's not a lot of shopping and dining. And they're not wrong. So in Navarre, we really only have grocery stores. So we do have Walmart, Publix, we have a Winn-Dixie, we have an Aldi as well. But other than that, you're looking at your different drugstores, so Walgreens, CVS, that kind of thing, as well as Ace Hardware. There's a couple little boutique stores here and there, but really that's kind of it. Dining options, we have a lot of fast food restaurants, but not everything. So Chick-fil-A, you have to go either to Gulf Breeze or Fort Walton. And there's a couple others that we don't have, but for the most part, your big ones like Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, whatever, we have all those. We have a couple different, pizza options, whatever, but there's not a ton of, eating options really here. So if you want to do your shopping, you have to go either to Pensacola, there is a mall there and a bunch of other stuff, or you can go over to Destin. There's a bunch of, there's an outlet mall and things like that. So if you're looking for that big city convenience, hate to tell you, but your Amazon driver is going to be your best friend. Okay, so I want to hear from you guys, because like I said, this is one of our biggest cons and the biggest thing that I hear of people not wanting to live in like the Mary Esther, Navarre, Gulf Breeze area is because of the lack of shopping and things like that. So you guys tell me, what is going to Target that's 20 minutes away, is that too far? Actually, it's kind of like 30 minutes away. Is that too far? You know, are you someone that needs to have all that stuff close by, or do you like the fact that it's not close by because, let's face it, it's less traffic? So drop it in the comments below. I would love to find out. Okay, con number 2 is traffic, just like kind of what we talked about, but your commute times to work. And then honestly, we also have some traffic around high tourist season to the beach. So let's go over those numbers. And again, I'm gonna kind of look at my notes so that I don't forget, you know, get you the wrong times. But traveling to Hurlburt, now it kind of depends on where in Navarre you are. The closer to Hurlburt, obviously, the faster you'll get there. But on average, you're between 20 and 40 minutes. To Eglin, it's a little bit longer. You're closer to that 30 to 50 minute range. And again, it's just because Eglin's further. For NAS Pensacola, you're about that 20 to 30 minute range, maybe a little bit on the, you know, to 40, depending on, again, which side of Navarre you live on. Speaking of traffic though, if we are in peak tourist season, so like spring and summer, you have to also consider the commute time to the beach. If you're local, you learn to know when to go to the beach and when not to go to the beach, because all of your tourists are, you know, they tend to wake up around 9 or 10, and then they're heading to the beach around 11 or noon, and then they're, you know, coming off the beach around 4 or 5. So we as a family will we try to get there about 9, and then we leave around noon. So we're kind of hitting the opposite wave. So it is something you need to think about, especially like I said, during high tourist season. All right, con number 3 is nightlife. We don't really have it. So there is maybe one place. I mean, there's a couple different like breweries now, but they don't stay open forever. There's a place on the beach called Juana's that does have kind of a nightlife, but that's pretty much it. So if you're looking for nightlife, you have to go to either Destin or Okaloosa Island or Pensacola to get that like going out vibe, or if that's the kind of night that you want. If you're looking for like shows and concerts, that's going to be in Pensacola or even Orange Beach, or maybe down in Panama City. Sometimes in Destin, there's a couple places out there that might have stuff like that. Think of Navarre as like campfires, bonfires, that kind of thing, hanging out with your friends at home. That's the kind of vibe that we have. We don't have that like bar life or anything like that. So if that's what you're looking for, Navarre is not going to be the right fit for you. All right, con number 4, and sorry guys, it's the tourist season. So to me, it's not a huge con because we are not nearly as crowded as my Destin neighbors and Pensacola neighbors and even Okaloosa Island. But to some people, if they did want that low, you know, lifestyle, that easygoing lifestyle that I mentioned in pro number 1, obviously this is going to be a huge con for you. If you don't want to deal with traffic, driving can get a little hairy, and then just, you know, it's longer lines at restaurants, it's longer lines at the grocery store, things like that, that it's just not, you know, they're not used to being here, so it takes a little bit longer time. So it's just something you either get used to or you don't live here. Okay, so I promised you one last pro before we end the video, because like I said, I want to end on a high note. So our final pro of why living in Navarre is great to me is our beaches. So again, I get asked all the time, like, what's to do in Navarre? Because like I said, we don't have the nightlife. It's our beaches. Like, hanging out on the beach is why people come here. Like, our tourists that you know is the con, when they come down here, they fall in love and then they want to move here, and it's because of our beaches. They're beautiful. They're white. They're literally white sand. Like, it's so fine. Okay, so if you've made it this far and you're still wondering, I'm not really sure if it's meant for me or not, I kind of had some pros that I liked, but there's definitely some cons that I agreed with as well. I'm going to break it down for you really easily. So Navarre is a perfect fit for our military families, for our businessmen and women that don't mind a little bit of a commute to like Pensacola or Destin, to any beach lover, and to the people just wanting a slower lifestyle, and then finally to any investment owner, because obviously with all those tourists that we have, you can make some money on the other side with growing your real estate portfolio. And it may not be for you if you are wanting that faster paced lifestyle, that you want, you know, the shopping, the museums, the nightlife. You're just not going to find it here. So I hope you gave some insight as to what it's like to live in Navarre, to get your pros and your cons. Maybe you found out if it was for you or not for you. And if so, I would love it if you gave me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and then ring the bell so you don't miss my next video. And again, real estate shouldn't be complicated. I help my buyers and sellers from beginning to the end through the whole entire process, and hopefully we have some fun along the way. See you next time.